All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope everybody's doing well. Welcome to Friday. It's last day of the month. Phew, what a price action we got yesterday. Okay. So I think pretty much I said it and it was coming. Last day of the month shenanigans. So it was something that kind of I didn't expect such a big move, but it was expected, right? So what we are seeing is typical for end of the month price action, right? So let's see. Today is Friday. Let's see how it's gonna end, and then we can go into the following month. Now, if you look at how the monthly candle is looking like, it gives me two things to consider potentially for next month. So it's either next month we're gonna drop aggressively in here, or we're gonna go up and take out this high. Okay, so it's either we drop aggressively into this gap and even potentially this one, or we will go up and take out February's high. Okay, now which one will I subscribe to, or which one do I think there's a high probability of it happening? Now, it's not an easy straight answer because most of the time you will get conflicting price action between the high time frame and the lower time frame. So it's going to be decided on a day by day or week by week basis. So if you move to the weekly, you can see that you do have a rejection below this low and that area that we talked about, and is currently above previous week high. To me, it's likely to drop because of this up candle. Okay, it's likely to drop because of this up candle. So what I would look for is this high, which is the previous currently it's this month high, but as of tomorrow it'll be the previous month high. This high and this low, that is the that is the range we're going to be trading within. Okay, so we'll be trading within this high and this low as a short-term range. So this high to this low here as a short-term range, and we will anticipate maybe the first week and the second week to go up and then we drop. So on the daily, that will bring us into this. So what I want to see going into next month is at least price coming somewhere in here, this volume imbalance, or even probably not trading through this gap. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we'll be looking at how every single day is going to trade. So it's not going to be easy predicting going forward. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not going to be easy going forward predicting what price is going to do because of how yesterday candle printed, the aggressive candle, right? So on Monday we will see how price will react inside here. Now if we do get a rejection because they still left equal low in here, and then initially this was a low and a lower low, but with this reacting of that fair value gap, this has now neutralized that, and this and that will now be basically equal low. So this and that will be equal low. Okay, so what I want to see going into next month is price will run this week's high and then potentially rejecting. It's not even necessary for them to go into premium over there. Why? Because if they do, then it might make a challenge for the month high before they move down, which that's way too extreme for price to go all the way up there and then come back down. But the month of March to the month of April, it does see lower prices on the dollar index. Okay, the month of March and the month of April, they do have, especially the second week, from the second week of March going. So, like I'm saying, we want to anticipate next week, potentially Monday, Tuesday, but still staying inside this gap. So it's going to require you to be extremely careful trading next week. As per what I've always been saying, you don't want to do much when it comes to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday on the first week of the month. Okay, so we will see how even today is gonna close. I'm not sure, but maybe after 2 p.m. after our session, you will see some kind of potential big moves happening, and it can cause price to come all the way back down. I will not be surprised. Okay, I'm just putting that out there. I'll not be surprised to see a whole rejection of all that has happened. But I'm pretty sure, based on what I'm seeing on the weekly time frame, and I'll talk about it in future. Based on what I'm seeing on the weekly time frame, we are likely to go to the downside. So I don't think that we will get, as per what I've thought, that if we take our previous candle's high, we'll go and take our low. I don't think that would be the case for this here, that they've taken out this month low, hence price is gonna take out that high. I don't think that would be the case, right? So and if it happens, I'll tell you why. Okay, I'm not gonna say it. When it happens, then I'll tell you why. So this gap is going to be our reference point, and we want to see price stay in there and then come and attack this low. Okay, and if we do get that, the pair that I'm interested in is British pound. I think British pound is the strongest right now out of all the pairs. Okay, because of euro pound dropping, but it might probably even switch to euro. Euro and pound are the strongest. Aussie and New Zealand are the weakest currently. So when we do go into next month, I think these two pairs will be the go-to to look for potential continuation, especially the British pound, because the British pound is kind of closing above previous month high, which is a strong indication that we will be trading higher. Okay? After all the rally that happened yesterday, British pound didn't do much. It only came down to a previous fair value gap. Okay, so going into next week, if you go into the weekly, as per what I said earlier, they might trade into this gap here to form the low of the month and then expand higher, right? So that's what we'll be expecting going into next month. We want them to trade down here, and based on the weekly rejecting this high, that might be the case. They will take out this low next week. And if we do, I think they will dip into this gap here and then reject and go higher. So we're going to be watching. Let me go back to the weekly. Okay, so we're going to be watching right here, this candle's low. Right here. That's where we'll be watching going into next month. Today. That's where the low of next month is likely going to form. Okay, so the low of next month is likely going to form here or here in there, and the first week will decide that. NFP. When it comes to euro, this one is a little bit different from the British pound because it couldn't close above the previous candle's high. Hence, it's going to require you to basically look at the daily and then the weekly, how the day is closing, how the weekly is closing. There's no fair value gap in here, so I don't recommend chasing price action. I don't think a sell would be the best idea, even though it looks like that might be the case. But based on what I'm seeing on the dollar index, it might not be the case for euro to go lower. If it does, we will see. But I think that might not be the case. So I'll take this on a day-by-day basis. But on the British pound, I like that. I like the price action that I'm seeing on the British pound. So instead of maybe even looking at all the majors, price action is much favorable on the British pound. So you take the British pound and then you leave the rest. Okay. So yeah, we'll be looking at the British pound next month, probably throughout the month for more trade ideas. Aussie, you can see how they've dropped it aggressively. That has been the weakest pair. I didn't expect that, but it is what it is. They've brought it down again. Now, it does have a range between this low and this high, right? So again, it might give a push back up, but we'll focus more on the British pound. If I see something interesting on this, then we'll come and take some actions on that. Same thing with the New Zealand dollar. If I see something good on this going into next month, then we come back to it. If not, then we will ignore them because I don't like the price action that is given right now. Okay. It doesn't have any fair value gap to support it, and if there is no gap, sometimes it can be a little bit challenging. Okay, if there's no gap, then it can be sometimes a little bit challenging. Okay, moving forward, I think EuroCAD yesterday missed our entry just by a few pips, and then price dropped. Right, I was looking for them to hit that and then reject, attack this low, and then trade to that. It missed the entry just by a few pips. Okay, so let's see. I think the end of the month is done. We did not take out any high, we did not take out any low. That makes it very, very difficult to trade. Okay, that will make it very difficult to trade. So we might probably ignore EuroCAD next month, because when it does give this sort of price action, it's the hardest condition, the hardest trading condition, especially when we are not. So for example, if we are printing up candles, and then they print that inside candle, that one. If you are printing up, 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 and then they print an inside candle, then that's easier to trade because they are likely going to open, take out the candles low, and then continue going up. But if we are not trending like that and it prints an inside candle, yeah, it can be frustrating to trade it. Okay, so I say next month we're gonna sit and wait because they didn't give me any reason to trade going into next month. So if I remove all this drawing, the reason why I was anticipating them to go for this low was to go and attack this low because we took out this high. Okay, so if you're wondering why I was expecting this low to be taken when we were here, it's because they rejected the previous month high, right? Euro Aussie, they didn't give any reason. They didn't give me any trade idea for the week. We've just continuously gone up, which that's not what I was expecting. Again, if you go into the monthly, I was expecting them to trade into that weekly fair value gap and then continue going up, which was here, right? It does not make sense where price rejected this. It does not make sense. At least this low should have been taken, but it is what it is. Right? Price does what it wants to do, and you have to just submit to it. It's either you submit or you get run over. That's why I didn't do anything with it this week, because it's not conforming to what I want to see. Yeah, so we'll leave them, and then we'll see how the month will end, and then we'll trade it probably going into next month. Okay, so apart from that, gold has dropped down as we were anticipating. They've taken out all that lows, so definitely look at the 2833.73 level, because I'm expecting the next target. I'm expecting the next move to be here. Okay, I'm expecting the next move to drop in here, so expect a continuation to the downside. Probably next week gold will be a good pair to trade, right? You might anticipate maybe Monday going up, Tuesday trading in here, and then we drop down. So this will be the area we want to see the next weekly high to form next week, right? So yeah, going forward, gold, we should see a continuation to 2834. Now let me say this: sometimes price is not gonna make it price is not gonna make it easier for you to read, or I'll put it myself, price is not gonna make it easier for me to read because it needs to give certain price action first. ICT will call it, I need more data, I need more information. Okay, sometimes you need more information on the chart to give you what, quote unquote, what we believe in, the algorithm wants to do. Okay. And that's the case for most of the pairs. I need more data for me to know what price wants to do next, because as it stands, they've not given much. But gold, it did give information that we are coming down here. That was after Tuesday, right? That they were going to take out this low and that low, and we will potentially end the week as a swing, and the month will end like that, which is likely going to cause, I think, in my opinion, a potential retracement back into here. But we'll take it one at a time. which is trade in here first. Okay, so next week you're gonna anticipate the market opening, rallying into that fair value gap on the daily, and then moving down to this area. All right, crude oil, still nothing much. Yesterday we had a move back into premium relative to this high and this low. On the H4, you can see we are not doing much. In terms of buys, I will personally not be interested in buying it. I'll wait till next week. I want to see how next week is gonna close, because we've been dropping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 consecutive weeks. Okay, which most of the time we should be printing at least one up candle by now. Right? We don't print such candles and don't print the alternative unless you're in a huge market, bearish market. Unless you're in a huge bearish market, that's when you have conditions that will cause the weekly to drop consecutive. Okay, sorry. As I was saying, unless we are in a huge bearish market, when the market is dropping, we have bad news everywhere. That's when you can expect like consecutive down candles like that. But by now we should be printing at least one up candle. So maybe next week might be an up candle. Okay, so let's see. Going into next week, maybe potentially we will get one rejection to come up. And if we do, I think if we can get a weekly close above a down candle, that might give a bit of change to potentially trade back up in here. But we will see, because by the end of the month, we are currently seeing a swing on the monthly. So most of the time, this will be a change in the state of delivery, and the next candle likes to pull back inside that range. Okay, we've got about 5 minutes, and there is a GDP news event on CAD. I think we'll come and watch what the CAD will do, some of the CAD pairs, because what I was expecting, they've crashed it. So within the next 5 minutes, we'll see if we'll get something from the CAD. But when we get a change in the state of delivery like this, the up candle being closed through, the next candle, most of the time, it's like it wants to pull back. So we might open next month and then pull back before maybe a drop, right? And where price is at now, without this candle closing bullish, it makes it extremely hard because it's back inside some kind of a small range on the monthly, right? From this candle's low to this candle's high, like a range. Okay. And my favorite for the week was this pair. Yes, I think yesterday I showed you the trade that I was in, and I spoke about price coming to attack this low. I'm sorry, not that low, this one here, and then trading to this candle's high. So my trade idea, or the trade that I had at the time, was selling this breaker and then holding on to it to come and attack this low. Okay, now if you look at, I'll show you why I was expecting that, and I think we might even drop today as well, but I'll show you why I was expecting that. If you look at this candle, which was Wednesday's candle took out Tuesday's candle and then rejected aggressively on the 1 hour time frame here. Okay, that's Tuesday's high, that's Wednesday. So when that happens, the breaker is gonna act as resistance, but it did go beyond that. But usually the breaker will act as resistance. So selling that to attack this low and that low, and trading to the last down candle's high was always going to be in the cut. And then I think after our session, or during the session, we dropped here, and I said, watch it, it's gonna go for this low. And then we did that during that time. Okay, time is crucial for this ES. So we dropped down, and then the PM session, right, also dropped aggressively. Here it did give me a bit of anxiety. I'll say anxieties, but it did put me into a bit of I won't say doubt, but I was wondering, why is it not dropping? So when it pulled back, I sold again. I sold back this fair value gap. I sold it again, and then it just kept playing around. So I almost nearly closed the trade. Not the one on here, like on a personal account. I sold it here, and then when it was doing back and forth, I nearly closed it. But what I did was just take your eyes off the market. So I moved away from the screen, and then at some point I checked and price was down here. I was like, that's nice. Okay, so if I show you the execution, you see that I sold here, right? And then I got out right there because I left all that. I didn't do anything with it, and price dropped. And I think based on what I'm seeing, we might, let me take off the execution. Okay, based on what I'm seeing, we are likely going to take out this low. This low here is going to be taken because the month is ending like this. So we are likely to take out that one. Okay. Let me check the 3 months. That's quite interesting. The 3 months is yet to close, so I will not say we will take out this one, but that could be a potential target. That could also be a potential target. That one. Okay, so if you go back, these lows can also be a potential target. I would want to see them leave this low for next month. So I don't want them to take it out today. You know, you never know. They can do it. But I would want to see them hold or leave this low for today, and then going into next month we come back and then we attack that. Okay, so let's see, going into next month, this New York session, don't do anything. Today is Friday. Okay, don't touch it, just leave it alone. Go and do something. Okay, I think I forgot about CAD. it didn't do much because I was watching the CAD pairs. New Zealand CAD has dropped through this gap yesterday. I was expecting some kind of reaction in here on the H4, right in here, this down candle prior to the move up, but it looks like nothing is going to happen, and the month is ending as a rejection above previous month high. Personally, this is a weird price action that I'm seeing for New Zealand CAD for this month, because if January goes up, usually February should be an up candle as well, because it's a seasonal move. Every January, let me see, if January goes up, last year it didn't do it, but if we go up in January, let me find it. Yeah, if we go up in January, February is supposed to go up because it's a 3-month seasonal move. We'll see next month, because this price action doesn't make sense. We should not be dropping as we are doing. Let's move on to the cryptos. Okay, let's start with AI. So the same story stands: buy or just leave and regret, because it's not gonna go any lower than what it's doing, and I think if it's gonna go, it might get to 0.2455. That'll be the lowest that I think it might get to, and then we might come back up. So yeah, the narrative still stands. Solana, it almost got to that one, and I think that might be probably today or next month they'll open and then take it out. So I don't think Solana is going up yet. I don't think it's going up yet. It will come back down again and then potentially go up. So watch this equal low. It's too clean. That's the target, 120.95. Bitcoin. So Bitcoin failed to give us the rejection below next month. So things are not looking good for Bitcoin in terms of this candle being a reaccumulation. It's not looking good for that. So this low to this high is going to be the range. Now, I'm not ruling potentiality of price shooting up, because price can do anything, right? I'm not ruling out the potential that price can shoot up today and reject this low, but it's likely not. Hence, this is going to be our range going forward. That means we might drop somewhere here, and then we will resume going back up again. So right in here, let me check on the monthly. Yep, right in there, that's where we are likely going to trade to next month, and then reject and come back up again. Right, so look for Bitcoin to trade to 72,143. I think that's where we're gonna go, and then we might reject and then come back up again. So on the daily, we are looking somewhere in here, right? Ethereum, finally they've gone for it, right? It was always going to be the case, but with Ethereum, maybe with this drop, it might consolidate in the shaded area, the area that I've shaded. We might consolidate in here, because that's basically a range on the monthly. This low to this high, that's the last range. So we might consolidate in here, or there will be a rejection to come back and then it will stay in the consolidation, right? So Ethereum, watch this fair value gap, and next month you can start looking for potential every single week, especially if we get a weekly candle rejecting the previous week low. Oops. Okay, if we get something like this next week below this week's low, inside that area, it can give you a potential short-term trade, maybe to come back up inside the weekly range, but not going higher, no, but it'll give you a buy to trade back up inside this high, and then it will come back in here. Okay, so maybe going forward I might like Ethereum. I just didn't like it here. Okay, so let's see. Hype, nothing much is happening on Hype. I think I did mention they would take out this low. Yeah, this low, they will come for this low here, because that's what this is for. They're gonna take out this low, so this is a pullback, and this is looking good. Like, I like it. If I trade Hype, I'll be shorting it here. I don't trade it, but if I did, I'll be shorting it up there to come and attack this low. Okay, so that's a nice trade idea for this afternoon. Hype to come and attack this low. XRP. Okay, so XRP, you can see that the monthly low is still in, quote unquote, I would say, in trouble, because it looks like they are closing below it, but today is rejecting. So let's see how the day will close. We don't want this candle to turn red. Okay, we don't want this candle to turn red. So on the daily, at least today should reject. Okay, we should reject today and close above this low. If we don't, then there's a problem. Okay, the same similar situation with the Bitcoin. If we close like this, then that's a turning point, that's a pivot, and price might trade back inside this range, which you don't want to see that, especially with this big move. It's really not worth it, because if it does close like this, then it's gonna drag XRP. It's gonna what's the word? It's gonna push it. It's gonna push the bullishness to the sidelines, and we might take longer before we continue going up. Okay, but if it rejects, then with a reaccumulation candle, it might just use 2, which is the next month and then the following month, to resume going higher. But if we form a swing high like this, then it might just pull back. Then it needs to get momentum to go back up again. So it's gonna put the bullishness to the sidelines for a while, and that's not good. Okay, so we need today to reject that low. Yep, we need today to reject that low. Definitely need to reject that low, right? So let's see how today is gonna close. On the H4, it's not looking bad. not looking bad at all. So fingers crossed, all XRP traders should pray that we don't close below 2.08 2.0811 by the end of the day. If we do close below it, then all bullishness should be put to the sidelines for now, and then we will be looking at potentially a pullback before we resume going higher. Tatuo, nothing much. I think the daily time frame has gone quiet. The size of the candles has changed to small ones, and the narrative still remains. It's either you buy or nothing. I don't think you're supposed to be selling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 down candles. And an up candle is overdue. And then lastly, Tatsuki. Nothing has really changed. Okay, nothing has changed. So do your due diligence by looking for a buy to come up here, and then that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. And I think pretty much that's all. I wanted us to see if we can get a scalp for the day. Let me drop down to the daily. Let me see if I can find a scalp. Nope. Let's look at Euro. Okay, so I don't think there's nothing much after yesterday's big drop. There's nothing much. So today being Friday, today being the last day of the week and the last day of the month, just sit, right? But I just want to see if I can find something for us to play with. Nah, it's okay. Let's leave price alone. All right, guys. So that concludes today's session, and it concludes the month of February. We're going into March now. We've put behind 2 months, and these 2 months, trust me, is the most challenging month of the year, because when we start the new year, it's similar to how we anticipate the weekly trading. I'm just going to explain why, if you felt like these 2 months is hard for you, why it's so. The power of 3 is fractal, meaning whatever is happening on the higher time frame is the same thing as happening on the lower time frame. So when the year starts, it's just like the week has started. So for the year, the first 3 months is going to be manipulation, especially the first 2, because the first 2 months, it's like Monday, Tuesday. Then we go to the 3rd month, which by the end of the 2nd month, price will give you an idea of how the entire year is going to trade. So by the 3rd month, at least there is a clue as to how the entire year is going to trade. That's why from March, April, May, it's easier to trade. So if you felt like January, February was hard, That's why, because the power of 3 is also applicable to the yearly candle. That single yearly candle is the same thing as the weekly candle, is the same thing as the monthly candle. So the first 2 months, it's always going to be a bit difficult because of manipulation. And then the last month of the year, which is December, you might have something like that because it's going to close the yearly candle, especially the last 2 weeks of the year. You don't want to do much because, again, the yearly candle is about to close. Okay, so yeah, that's why this month is a little bit difficult to trade and the previous month, but this one is sometimes going to be like this. There's a lot of consolidation, a lot of uncertainty. Next month you will see the difference and I'll show you why it's like that. Okay, so let's end here and then I'll see you all on Monday, same time. Take care.